Hello, people of the internet. I am DI Gremlin, and welcome to my post-draft analysis for the PTL, the Pokemon Tri League. This is season 2 of the league. I was in the last season, but I didn't do any videos because I joined like halfway through, and it wasn't my team, and yada yada yada. But this season, I've drafted my own team. I'm looking to make at least a playoff push. But you never know. It's tough. It's a tough league. But yeah, I've not really got a preamble or anything, so let's just jump into the team. Up first, as you can see on the screen, Mega Latios. I basically had no choice to draft Mega Latios. I was originally going to draft Mega Lopunny, but that was taken. I was like pick 7, I think, and it was already gone by then. And Mega Latios was still on the board, and there was just nothing else that was even close to as good as a first round pick as Latios. So even though I've had Latios regular before and not really done all that well with it, I mean, Mega Latios is so good, you know. Its stats are just phenomenal. It's a special nuke. It's such a good Carmine sweeper. It's not even a bad Dragonant sweeper. Bolt beam coverage, levitate, base 110 speed. It's worth the points. It's a lot of points in a budget draft, but it's worth it. This thing is so ridiculously good, and I couldn't pass it up. I just couldn't. So yeah, I mean, it's like pretty straightforward. Up next, I feel like I have to defend this pick, because I picked Necrozma. And essentially my thought process behind this was, it's definitely not the best pick in the world. I mean, I think Necrozma is brilliant. I was looking at the points, and I thought for 16 points, Necrozma was an absolute steal. Its defensive prowess, its reliability as a stealth rocker, and then its potential to be a sweeper, that, like, for 16 points, I was sold. I thought that was unrivaled. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Now, I get it. It's 2 psychic types. It's like, I'm pretty much not really going to bring the setup in Necrozma because I have Latios as a setup one right there. But the thing is Latios doesn't really function as a psychic type. You know, you're going to run your dragon coverage. You're going to run your bolt beam. Psychic is not really the most important coverage to run on Lati. Whereas Necrozma, pretty much its main thing to hit with is Psychic. So that somewhat justifies it. I mean, basically, I had a draft plan, got kind of scuppered when Lopunny went instantly, and I thought I could still work with it. I thought still drafting Necrozma was okay, because I just thought it was too good to pass up for the points it was worth. But I mean, now it creates holes, right? So I've got to patch up. Obviously, just a huge dark weakness. That's a big thing that I'm going to have to patch up. But I think I managed to do that somewhat well later on. But next up was another pick that I just had to get it. I grabbed Mamoswine, for 14 points. 14 points. I grabbed what is, in my opinion, one of the best wall breakers in all of draft. Mamoswine is an absolute monster. There are just so few switch-ins. Most people are going to have either one or none. It's if you give this thing the right support, which I might have done, we'll have to see. If you give this thing the right support, it is just an absolute beast. I thought it paired quite well with Lati, because Lati struggles a bit with bulky steel types. Mamoswine, does not care. Simply put, it does not care. Gets him out of the way. I've used Mamoswine before, and I've used it very effectively before as well. It is so good. And it's also another stealth rocker. It's also a ground type. Again, for the amount of points that I had to spend on it, it was really worth it to me. Up next, I picked Shaman. Now, I love me some Shaman. I absolutely love Shaman in drafts. I think 13 points is reasonable for it, because it doesn't quite excel quite like some of the other base 100s legendary mythical things, but I really like Shaman. It's has great potential defensive-wise with Synthesis and Leech Seed. I think it gets Healing Wish as well to support the team. So it could be a really good support mon. But then, a Life Orb set with Seed Flare and stuff like that, that can also be really, really helpful. And obviously, it starts off my Fire, Water, Grass core, which, you don't need to have it, but it's very good to have. It was pretty much one of the better grass types on the board, because I think Tangrowth had just gone, and I was tossing up, do I grab Tangrowth, do I grab Shaman, because I love me some Tangrowth, but then Tangrowth went, and it sort of looked like all the grass types were about to go, so I just decided to get in there quickly and grab Shaman. Up next is a pick that I really, really, really like. It's a mon that I think goes under the radar a little bit in draft, and that is Buzzwole. If there's something that's going to help pair with Lati in terms of getting rid of those steel types, getting rid of those dark types, getting rid of those bug types, it is a big, bad, fighting monster that is Buzzwole. Buzzwole, I understand why it's as cheap, quote unquote, like 13 points, right? That's the same as Shaman. But for an Ultra Beast with base 139 attack, I think base 139 defense as well, decent coverage, gets things like Poison Jab, Ice Punch, Superpower, Leech Life, and then some defensive capabilities with Roost as well. Its bulk is very underrated, and its only real weakness is that it's kinda slow and 4 times weak to flying. That's not that bad, in my opinion, because not really that many things run the flying coverage. The only things that really run flying are things that are just bird spam, Mega Pidgeot with Hurricane, Strap to Brave Bird, stuff like that. And there's not really too many good bird spam, and generally, it doesn't matter if you're 4 times weak, or 2 times weak, or no times weak. Bird spam is going to hurt. So, as far as a 4 times weakness goes, it's not bad. I say this every single time I draft a team with a mon with a 4 times weakness. I say, I'm never doing this again. I hate this. But I don't think this is going to be too bad. I hope so. Fingers crossed. But anyways, up next, I grabbed another monster of a wall breaker. If you couldn't tell, I love me some wall breakers. I've already grabbed Mamoswine, I've already grabbed Buzzwole, and I grabbed Primarina. Oh my goodness. If you want to talk about a wall-breaking monster, Primarina is it. My draft was looking kind of shaky at the start. People were questioning me. I'm questioning me as well. But I think these 3 picks, all for 13 points, they helped to bring it together a little bit. Primarina, it's my fairy type, which again is going to help getting rid of those dark types, which are just going to be a nightmare because I drafted double psychic because I'm a genius. And it gives me, I say it gives me a speed tier at 60. My speed tiers are nicely spread. It would be good to get something fast. But I was pretty confident that I was going to get my next pick, and I wanted some slow mons for that. I already have Necrozma with Trick Room potential, but I really wanted something else. But yeah, as far as water types and fairy type wall breakers go, this thing, it just hits so hard. It hits so hard. Last season, I had Sylveon. I brought it to 3 games, and I think I got 6 or 7 kills with it. Specs Fairy Spam is just really, really good. It's really good. And I'm on, I could bring Primarina pretty much every single week, bring pretty much the same set every single week, and people are going to struggle with it regardless. And it's something as well that I can kind of manipulate its bulk a little bit. Right now, the team... See, I'm a fan of bulky offense. I'm a fan of bulky offense, I'm a fan of wall breakers, but I do like my walls. I do like to have my switch-ins, and right now, the team is looking... it's not frail. It's not frail offense. We got no glass cannons, but in terms of a dedicated defensive mon, something like a Melodic, maybe, or like maybe a Skarmory type of thing, a mon that you can just bring defensively every single week. It's a little bit sketchy, like a defensive Boswell, defensive Necrozma, defensive Shaman. I don't really have dedicated walls, but everything on the team can take a hit really, really well. So I'm not really going to be able to switch in, but people aren't really going to be able to one-shot me, and you can bet I'm going to be able to do a lot of damage back with how much power I have. But in any case, next up, I decided to grab Stacker Tacker. Now, it was a little bit of a reach, a 10-point pick, and honestly, I think Stacker Tacker is worth so much more than 10 points. And that's why I grabbed it now over some other things that I was eyeing up. Because I figured Stacker Tacker would go under the radar. It's got 2 big 4x weaknesses. But 10 points, I think it's worth about 13 points, honestly. Because it's just a monster. You set Trick Room, you get a kill with Gyro Ball, you get a kill with Stone Edge, and you just steamroll. You just absolutely steamroll. It is so physically bulky. It hits so incredibly hard. Yes, it has those big 4x weaknesses. And yes, a lot of things can pack the ground coverage for it. That is true. But it's so physically bulky that some random mon running like Bulldoze or something, that's not even going to KO it. And I can run Air Balloon or Sugarberry or Choppleberry. I feel like I'm hoping to be proved right on this. I think it's better in draft than people think it is. I think it's going to be really, really good to have. And there was another pick that I was eyeing up, which I did also get next, which I felt like was really going to bring this team together. Because now I have 2 very reliable Trick Room setters with mons that are not particularly slow. But, Primarina could operate under Trick Room, maybe a slow Mamoswine, a slow Buzzwole. I got a couple things that could operate under Trick Room. But then next up, I grabbed something which brought the team together. I feel like at this point, the team was coming together nicely, but I reckon people were still thinking, what's this guy on? But I grabbed Tornadus Incarnate, aka Prankster Tailwind. I mean, let it be known, Prankster Tailwind with things like Buzzwole, Mamoswine, Primarina, that is a destructive combo. That really is destructive. I didn't end up drafting anything faster than Tornadus, which is annoying. I would have liked a faster speed tier, but it doesn't matter because I have excellent speed control. Well, I mean, I have alright speed control. But yeah, I mean, I used this relatively effectively last season. I used it with Mandibuzz a bit. I had a Rain team, which I didn't really like. I don't like Rain in draft, but I picked up Tornadus, and Tornadus is super good, even outside of Rain, as long as it's your Z Crystal user for Fly Z, which it is. I think I took Tornadus and Stack Attacker as my Z Crystal users. Yeah, I think that's right. But yeah, like I said last season with Specs Sylveon in Tailwind earned me like 7 kills or something like that. I mean, how are you going to stop Life Orb or Banded Mamoswine in Tailwind? How are you going to stop Specs Primarina in Tailwind? How are you going to stop Banded or Life Orb or something like that Buzzwole in Tailwind? I don't know. I don't know how you do it. Like, I've got great wall breakers, and I have potential to set them up in Trick Room and in Tailwind. I think that's a deadly combo, because my opponents are not really going to be able to tell which option I'm going with. So even though Tornadus, it doesn't quite look as though it fits on the team in terms of the wall breakers and the bulky offense that I was going for, it is going to be a really, really useful support mon, kind of a utility mon. Knockoff, U-turn, Taunt, Prankster, Defog, which I didn't really have a good Defogger at this point. Prankster, Tailwind. I think Torn's going to be a really good mod in this team. I hope so, because I like Torn, but it never seems to do that well in draft. But I think it's going to do well on this team. I hope so. Up next, I'm gonna just be real. I got sniped. I got sniped really, really hard, and so I grabbed Slurpuff for sticky webs. There's a possibility that a trade might be on, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, it's another form of speed control. Just in case the trade doesn't happen, then I have sticky webs and I have belly drum unburden. You know, it could be worse. Even though I got sniped, it's still pretty good. It works okay on the team. Yeah, it'll do. You never know. It might put in work. I hope so. But then up next, I was gonna say finally, but it's not finally because I got a bit of a meme pick. But yeah, almost finally, my penultimate pick. I picked up Gligar. This was a huge pick. I got sniped again, but it wasn't the biggest of snipes. I was gonna draft Vikavolt, which I thought was going to be really, really good as either an agility sweeper or just a slow Volt Switcher or a Trick Room sweeper. And it paired really nicely with Stack Attacker. It was immune to ground and it resisted fighting. But I ended up picking up Gligar, which does both of those things. It is immune to ground and it resists fighting. It is a reliable Stealth Rocker. It is a reliable Defogger. It gets U-turn. It ticks a lot of boxes, if I'm honest. So yeah, which is good. You know, Stack Attacker, I think my support for it is good enough. You know, I have 3 ground immunities and a ground resist with Shaman. And in terms of fighting, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resists. I guess 7, including Slurpuff. So, you know, bring HP fighting if you want. That's all I'm going to say. Bring HP fighting if you want, and have it be completely useless against my entire team. And I'm not even going to bring Stack Attacker. You know, that's the risk that you take. So I think I drafted around Stack Attacker well. It was my plan pretty much from the very start to get Stack Attacker on the team, and it panned out. But yeah, so that's what Gligar's doing. Gligar is out here filling holes. You know, I have Stealth Rockers, but Gligar is a really, really reliable one. I have Defoggers, but again, Gligar is a more reliable Defogger than Torn, which, I mean, if you're going for Defog with Torn, you're losing Torn in the process, because Torn doesn't really take attacks, and I don't really want to run Defog Mega Latios. I think it's a little bit better than that. Maybe just a little bit. Only a little bit. But yeah, so that's Gligar. And then last but not least, I had 2 points left. And I like Palpitoad. I think it looks cool. So I drafted Palpitoad. I don't know, man. I just like it. Is that not enough? I mean, I had 2 points left. If the trade that I'm trying to get done ends up working out, then I will drop Palpitoad. But yeah, for now he looks cool, doesn't he? He's happy. Look at Palpitoad. He's a cool guy. Yeah, I have absolutely nothing to say about Palpitoad. I don't think I'm gonna bring this thing. Maybe I'll do it for the memes. See, if I somehow don't trade this thing away and I have it in the last week and I'm not making playoffs, I'll bring it. Sure, why not? But yeah, that's the team. It's a little bit different from what I normally draft, because I don't really have the hard walls and the bulk that I would normally like to have, but I love the offensive prowess of this team. I hope it's going to give me some flexibility in team building in terms of how am I going to brutally destroy someone, which is generally always a fun thing to go about doing. There are holes in it, I'm not going to lie. There are definitely holes in this draft. It's not the best draft that I've ever had, but I tend to have more fun with almost good draft. I think it's good. I think it's a good draft. It's not a great draft. If you saw me in the PHL Season 5, I felt like I had an amazing team in there. It was like I ticked all my boxes. The bulk was insane, and I just ran away with the whole thing. And it was kind of not boring, but it got stale. It got old. Whereas the season before, I had a team that kind of didn't quite work as well. It was a bit more higgledy-piggledy. It didn't quite work. And honestly, it was loads more fun to use. So, in any case, I'm going to have fun with this team, I think. There's potential for changes to be made. You know, it might turn out that Necros Malati doesn't work, and everyone is right, and I am also right about that being an odd combination. But yeah, I couldn't pass Necros. 16 points, man. 16 points for one of the best ones in draft. It was a bit of a, I mean, not a no-brainer, because it's still a bad decision. But yeah, anyways, I'm just rambling now, because I don't generally just talk. But yeah, matches will probably be up whenever the upload day is, or else the league will be angry with me. So yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!